So this month is an opportunity for all of us to listen. And there's so many different ways of listening. When I look at these lyrics, listen to the song here in my heart. Listen to the sound from deep within. It's all these lyrics about listen to that thing inside of you that's trying to speak. There is something inside, someone I thought had died screaming out for me to listen. How many of you can relate to that? To something inside of you that's just been nudging at you for so long, maybe since you were a child, just pushing, nudging, saying, there's something here, there's something more that you're missing, so listen. Well, the song is from Dreamgirls, and in the play itself, it's not in the play, it's in the movie, it was written for the movie, and Beyonce does sing it, but she sings it to someone. And her message is, listen to me because you are trying to hold me into what you think I am, and there's something in me saying you are more than this, and I can't keep listening to you telling me I'm less when I know that I am more, and so it's time for me to listen to me and not you, right? So that's the song. And it's interesting because Barbara said when she heard the song, she said, it's a song about singing to someone else. And I was like, exactly. Because we are constantly listening to everything out there instead of what's in here. We are constantly being told who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to think, how we're supposed to act, where we're supposed to be at this age of our life, what we're supposed to be doing, what is appropriate, what's inappropriate. We are constantly getting feedback time and time and time again. And it's not that the feedback is wrong. It's not that whatever they're saying is wrong. It's just possibly wrong for me or for you. And it is time for us to really stand in who we are unabashedly and with no fear and say, this is who I am. And if you are not good with that, whoever that may be, please feel free to go off and be whoever you want to be. But this is who I am. Right? So that's what the song's about. And this month, each one of us has an opportunity to, I'm feeling very emotional now. I guess I needed to hear that. So we have an opportunity this month to start listening to the only voice that's important. Now, I have a thing on my wall that says God is speaking no matter who's talking. Not always easy to deal with, but it's true because God is speaking no matter who's talking. But once it's spoken, once it's heard, you must listen to that voice inside that knows what was just said and how it applies and whether it applies. So you all ready for a month of that? Yes. And the rest of you, you're like, I come here to have fun, not to be challenged. So Theodore Roosevelt said this: if you could kick the person in the pants responsible for all your troubles, you wouldn't sit for a month. So this is where we have to really get into responsibility. Because I think what stops us from listening some of the time is that we're too busy blaming. We're too busy blaming the world. We're too busy. When you're in victim mode, you can't hear a thing. All you hear in victim mode is wah, 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 all the problems that are someone else's fault. And yet, what do we teach? Personal responsibility. And we had a long talk about this. Oh my God, yesterday, the wine tour. So where are the Bray Bands? Are they here? Did they make it? Could you two stand up? Could you two stand up? And Brad, can you two stand up? And where's Karen Anzalone? Karen, where are you? Stand up. So let's give a big round of applause to these 5 people. Woo! They did the most amazing job yesterday. Next year, when the wine tour comes up for bid, it should be a cat fight. Because every person should want to go on this. And I was so busy all week, and I was like, oh, God, we were doing the wine tour. I really should stay home and work. And Kevin talked me out of it. He said, no, you got to go. And so I did. That was pretty much how it went. It was probably a longer discussion than I just had, but I rarely listen. So, but it was amazing. From 8 a.m. till 6:30 p.m., there was nothing but joy. Now, Thomas Troward tells us that our only purpose in life is to enjoy life, to be in the joy that life is. Well, these 5 people gave us an entire, 12 hours of, or 10 hours of nothing but living in the joy of life at the right locations with the most beautiful ambiance and creativity all around us. There's a reason they call alcohol spirits. With the most amazing spirits possible. It was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So if we're going to take responsibility for our lives, then we have to take responsibility to enjoy our lives, to make decisions, to listen to our inner self saying, this is what makes my life joyful. This is what works for me. And not feel like we need to somehow do what is expected of us, even when it doesn't bring us joy. And I know some of you may be sitting there thinking, really, is it really possible to just have joy your whole life? Well, here's the answer to that. Yes and no. It is possible if you believe it's possible, you demand its possibility to be a persistent activity in your life, and you create it. It is not possible if you believe it's not possible. If you somehow buy into this thing that we're taught from childhood onward, which is that there's going to be good times and bum times. I've seen them all. I won't do it. If we believe it, we will receive it. That's how it works. So I believe fully, absolutely, that my life can be nothing but joy if I bring my joy-filled self to everything. Do I succeed at it 100%? Absolutely not. I would say I probably succeed at it 70% in my life. And there's still, Kelly was like, okay, that works for me. 70% is not bad, but it's not 100%. And I believe there will come a time when I so get this teaching so vividly that I insist that I live at 100%, where I am in 100% joy, no matter what. How many people want that? Every hand should go up in this room. Because if you don't have it up, then you must think that there is some reason to not be in joy. And Ernest Holmes told us a long time ago in 1927 when he wrote that beautiful book, we have learned everything we need to learn through suffering. So get over it, Blanche. That was Dr. Walker, not Dr. Holmes. So responsibility. This whole year is called Simplify. And I'm going to keep telling you all year, lest we get to like May and we forget what our theme is. The whole year is about simplification, simplifying our lives. But for me, to simplify equals taking responsibility. Because when you don't take responsibility for your life, what happens is you start really believing that something out there is causing your life to be the way it is. And the minute you go there, the minute you blame anything else for your life, you have literally taken some of your power away and given it to whoever's fault it is. But when you simplify your life, dumb it down to the truth, I'm responsible for my experience. You have taken the reins, you have taken the power, and you are now saying to yourself, I am ready to create the life I want to live. And no one out there will ever be, bless you, will ever be responsible or to blame for what happens in my life. That is the most powerful place to be, and it's also why New Thought hasn't caught fire. Because I don't believe we live in a world where that many people want to take responsibility for their lives. They want there to be a problem. They want it to be the government's fault. They want it to be the president's fault. They want it to be anybody's fault in the world. They want it to be North Korea's fault. They want it to be my neighbor's fault. They want it to be my mother's fault. There's a great quote that says, I'm trying to think who said this quote, but whoever it was said, there comes a point when your mother has to be let off the hook. If you're an adult It's no longer your mother's fault. She did what she did. She did her best, no matter how worst it was. She did her best, and it's no longer her fault. Nora and Will are 18. I have no more blame. It's all theirs now. They will pick the right college or not. But what do we know? They will pick the right college. And nothing I say or do is going to change that, right? So, personal responsibility, your personal power. You are here. Do you have your book there? Your book that you read, your thing this morning? Great. So, your power is universal power. Your power is not just your power, your individual power. Your power is universal mind. Joselito read a gorgeous quote from the book we're studying in practitioner class. Would you just come up and read that? It's a quote from Mark Nepo's book, 7,000 Ways to Listen.
Yes. So for meditation in this theme of listen, the quote is this: how do we listen to and stay in conversation with all that is beyond our awareness? I'm referring to that element that lives in our center, which overlaps with the essence of life itself. Like an inner sun, this common center has a spiritual gravity that pulls us to it. This unending pull to center may be our greatest teacher.
Thank you. That was gorgeous. So there is something in you, like the sun, that is pulling you towards it. You are not just individual mind, you are universal mind. You are the entire enchilada pouring through your individual mind. And when you allow yourself to listen to that voice speaking to you, you always know what to do, believe it or not. You always know the answer. You always have exactly what you need. But you must get everything out of the way and listen to it. Now, I have an acronym for listen. You ready? Living in spiritual truth, excluding nothing. Living in spiritual truth, excluding nothing. Meaning, when you are willing to listen to the truth inside of you, it doesn't matter what's going on. There is spiritual truth to be had in it. No matter what. No matter what. Living in spiritual truth, no excluding nothing. That's what I want you to do this month. I want you to demand upon yourself that you will see the spiritual truth and you will live in that spiritual truth no matter what, and you will exclude nothing. Nothing is beyond the bounds of being spiritually truthful and correct. Can you do that? Can I do that? Do you know the word listen and silent have the exact same letters? Think about it. Listen, silent. Same letters. You just have to move them around a little bit. Am I not smart or what? Actually, Google is smart because it came up in my Google search and I was like, that is awesome. Who would have known that? Now when I play Words for Friends, I can do that. Words with friends. So, this week, I want you to do this. I want you to slow down. And I'm talking to myself. I want us all to slow down and listen. In order to listen, you have to be silent. You have to be willing to stop listening to everything out here. Get quiet and listen for what Joselito just talked about. Listen for that thing in you that knows. First, remind yourself that that is there. It's who you are. So this week, as part of Listen Week, as part of Simplify Year, I want you to really slow down. Slow yourself down as much as you can. Take the time to listen before you think. Listen before you speak. Definitely listen before you act. M. Scott Peck said this: you cannot truly listen to anyone and do anything else at the same time. Just listen to that for a minute. You cannot truly listen to anyone and do anything else at the same time. And I am going to publicly apologize to my husband, who has many, many times in the last so many years, 30 years. I was actually thinking I did better in the beginning, but okay. So, just recently we were having a conversation. No, actually, I was on the computer, and he was talking to me. And he stopped talking. He said, "Would you just listen to me?" I said, "I can listen and do this at the same time. I'm trying to get this done." And I was agitated and annoyed that he thought I had to give him my full attention to listen to what he was saying. And he was agitated and annoyed because I wasn't giving him my full attention. And he seems to think that there are times when he talks to me and I don't remember it. I don't remember what he said. And I can guarantee him I don't. Often. So I was looking at this thing, this quote from M. Scott Peck, and I was like, oh my God, that's me. That's me. And I think it's all of us. How many of you are tweeting while you're talking? How many of you are checking your emails while you're talking? How many are you checking just to see what happened on Facebook while you're talking to your husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or even just friend? How many conversations? How many times do you go to the restaurants now and you see people literally sitting at tables eating, doing their Facebook, not communicating, just on their whatever device they have? So this week, listen to those quotes. If someone starts talking to you, stop what you're doing and listen. You may hear something that you weren't expecting. You may even hear beyond what they're saying to what they actually mean. So this is the month. We get to be silent. We get to listen. So there's 3 levels of listening. There's what you hear from the outside. There's what you hear from your own mind, meaning you hear your mind telling you what you think about what you're hearing. So there's this, level 1. There's level 2, which is what you're thinking about what you're hearing. And then there's level 3, the highest level. And that is the level behind it all that's understanding all of it. Very often we get too bogged down with this, number 1, what we're hearing. We don't even get, we do get to number 2 because we're always like thinking, but we're not paying attention to what we're thinking. We're just acting on it. So we're thinking, we're relating, we're reacting, we're getting annoyed maybe sometimes, and then we react on it, and yet we never get back here to the thing that actually says, this person that's annoying us right now actually needs us. There's something under there. That's the unconditional loving self. So I want you to pay attention this week to those 3 levels of listening. Do listen to what's being said. Really pay attention to what's coming your way because you're attracting it no matter what it is. And then listen to what you naturally think about what you're hearing. And then when you're done with those 2, before you react, take a deep breath and let what's the truth about all of it dump into you. And I do mean that. There's this divine dumping. It just comes in and it just allows itself to be heard. So do you all think you can do that? So it really is about doing something this month. It's not just let's go to Sunday service and have fun, and then next week, let's see what happens next week. Let's work every single day so that we can build on this throughout the month. Yesterday at the wine tour, there was a beautiful, beautiful moment that happened for me. I had a great time all day. I really did. Everything was perfect. These people, the way they orchestrated and produced this was sheer perfection. From the bus, to the games on the bus, to every venue, to the amazing food, to the amazing cookies at the last stop, to the drive home, timing it exquisitely so that by the time we came along the ocean, it was the most beautiful magenta sunset ever. It was just everything, even till we got in the cars, everybody saying goodbye and driving off onto the freeway. It was just perfect. Absolutely sheer perfection. And what was really nice was there was a great mixture of what was old GTC and what was old Westlake, all mingled together, and you couldn't tell who was who because it was one thing going on. And Steve Brabant took me aside at one point and he said, and it was very touching to me, and I hope you know that, he said, He said, yeah, it's great to do these fundraisers and raise money. And by the way, this event, this amazingly successful event, raised over $5,000 for the center. And so Steve Brabant said to me, he said, I love that we can raise money for the center, but for me, what this is really about is that. And then he said to me, he said, listen, just listen. And we both were quiet for a minute, and everybody had been in this beautiful wine cave, and all you heard was this beautiful melodic sound of 50 people talking and laughing. And it was this sound wave that was coming out to where Steve and I were standing. And I just got very emotional. I was like, this is what it's about. Listen to that. Had he not stopped me for that moment, I might not have really taken the moment to listen to it because I was a part of it up to that point. So this month, every now and then, in this life that you're a very vibrant part of, step back and listen to what that life is living around you. Recognize you are this entire universe living itself out. And if you were to step back and get quiet for a minute and listen to that universe as it's living itself out, I think you will be astonished to realize how much love there is coming your way. Have a great week doing this. Namaste.